Have you ever seen a Minecraft horror mod and thought, yeah, I could survive this? Except, here's the thing. In the game, you can just respawn, but in real life, it's over. So today, we're gonna break down 8 Minecraft horror mods you absolutely would not survive, no matter how smart you think you are. Starting with From the Caves was created by Mini Not Prime, getting over 500,000 downloads. Now this mod creator is special because he has seen every Dweller horror mod, where most mods use one creature that tries to beat you, but he took it one step further and turned the mod into something absolutely terrifying. With a mob, we would not survive. When first hopping into the world, you are given a random book from a person named Amos. Now we don't know who this person is, but when we go into his cave, better called Amos's cave. So here's the thing, with a mod called From the Caves, we probably shouldn't go in there, but we do anyway. Inside is pretty much like a maze. Each room has a trap, whether it be deep pits with spikes or fireballs that put you on fire, giving the idea that we aren't supposed to be inside here. Eventually, we come across a room with a Steve head just chilling there. Except if we make the mistake of making a cross and bringing it close to this bigger cross, this happens. That summons the creature. Now being in our Minecraft world, strange events start to happen. For example, some villagers and even animals will look like this, almost looking like as if they're possessed. Next, while mining, we get to see the creature that got summoned, which has the Steve skin with strangely realistic eyes, as well as his head being split open, revealing his flesh. It even has this creepy looking crawl. Plus, while you're mining, the thing can even break blocks. Even worse, it doesn't strictly stay in the cave. There are moments when it has these teleporting powers and can go above ground. This creature isn't dumb either. It watches and stalks, observing you on what you do, so it knows the right time to mess with you. Clearly the thing has a brain, since it will communicate with signs. Now that we know what we're dealing with, you can already tell why it's pretty much impossible to survive this creature. If From the Caves were real, a normal human would not survive because we have seen what the creature can do. Let's say the ritual already was done and now we need to survive. We know the creature can not only possess animals but also villagers, turning them into these twisted versions, which means you can't trust anyone, not your dogs or family, because they can get possessed at any moment. When encountering the creature, obviously we're safe from the caves because we would never go inside one. But here's the thing, we know it doesn't only stay in caves, since it can teleport above ground. So it can show up in your house, while you're walking, and when you're sleeping. Even hiding isn't even an option. Plus, the thing can break blocks. Now if you do try to hide or lock yourself somewhere, it will just break the place down like it does with blocks. But many of you veterans who played this mod will say its weakness is the cross, which is true. One of the mechanics added into the mod was to use the cross to kill it. Except it's not that simple. The creature is smart and can communicate through signs. With that, it can also take the cross away if you have one. Plus, the cross doesn't kill it. It only makes it disappear for a little while. So with that, it's pretty much impossible to survive. Created by Dregler, this mod is actually his first one. Dregler has seen tons of these horror mods, but to him, like the mods we've covered so far, it felt only like an entity or creature was trying to chase you. So the mod creator decided to do something unique. When first hopping onto the world, one major difference is the UI. When looking onto the top left, what you'll see is a meter, which is important for you to remember since it's a big feature from the mod. But besides this, not much happens. So we'll need to advance more into the world to know what we're dealing with. So we play Minecraft like usual by killing animals to get food, breaking trees as usual, but then you get a strange feeling as if something is observing you, seeing what you're doing, and chooses whether it's a good action or a bad action. Even more strange is that when we look at the top left, the bar went down. Now as that meter goes down, we notice abnormal events, like a text saying "I'm watching you," proving the feeling we had earlier to be right. Whatever is observing us, it seems as we continue to kill any passive mobs, like sheeps, pigs, and villagers, the bar goes down. And even more hallucination happens like this one. Now, if these warnings are not enough and we continue to kill certain mobs, eventually the worst event happens. Because once the meter goes all the way to 0, it's already too late. A countdown happens that starts at 60 seconds. After waiting until it finally hits 0, the most disturbing thing I've seen so far shows itself. From what we're looking at, this thing is the god in this mod, having 4 wings with a big rotating block as its body, and in the very middle is an odd looking eyeball, with its name being Seraphim. Once this thing is summoned, there really isn't much you can do, besides run. But even that's not enough because the god immediately one-taps you. Okay, now if this mod was in real life, your survival depends on one thing first, which is the meter. Pretty much anything good or bad you do, it goes either up or down, because there is just no way to survive the Seraphim. It is legit a divine entity that has unworldly powers, so trying to survive that is completely off the table. So we can only go off the karma system. If this karma system existed, it would not look like a game bar. Instead, the god would track your harmful actions, and each harmful choice would move you closer to danger. When you hurt animals or harmless people, then small warning signs start happening around you. At first it feels like coincidence, but the timing keeps matching your bad actions. So from now on, anytime you do anything bad like litter, that would lower your karma. If you ignore the warnings and keep causing harm, the god entity will show up and it's pretty much over. Running or hiding won't save you. So logically, as long as we become a good little dude for the rest of our life, we're okay. But here's the thing, within real life, this plan fails right away, because there is just no visible meter to watch. The god will always be watching your actions, but you would never see your score, so you could not tell how close you are to getting to 0. Because of that, you would not know which actions actually caused the drop. You might try to be careful, but you cannot know what the system counts as harm. Plus, we're humans, no one is perfect. Normal everyday life could lower your karma. Even something as simple as rage baiting your friend will make it go down. So avoiding every bad action is just not possible. There is also no clear way to earn your karma back. So a long chain of mistakes could push you to the end. Since no person can act perfect every day forever, the god would eventually catch you in the end. Created by Squeaky Sneaker, also known as SWKE, with his mod getting almost 3 million downloads. The Mimicker is said to be a Minecraft boogeyman-like mod, where someone attacks you when you least expect it. To better understand what we're up against, the mod gives us some lore about how exactly Minecraft Steve turned into whatever this is. So Steve was just minding his own business until a black alien parasite from an unknown cave that wasn't in Minecraft before latched onto him. When it did that, it started eating away at Steve's flesh, replacing his bones and limbs with the parasite's own body, causing him to get this slim and long look. Now, Steve is still conscious, he just can't control his body. Every time he gets hurt, or the feeling of his body getting eaten out, he still feels the pain. Even when he tries to control it, he can't. The parasite not only made him take out his dog, but also his only friend Alex, doing these heinous things with a forced smile on his face. With this information, we know that the Mimicker is very aggressive, but we won't see him until a bit later into the game, when it starts getting darker. So when it starts getting darker, it's very crucial you have your ears and eyes locked in. The Mimicker can come out of nowhere in tight corners, the forest, basically anywhere dark. You'll know he's close when you hear Steve's voice trying to fight the parasite.
I see you. Do you know what happened to me? This thing inside me, it's controlling me. I can't help myself. I am in pain. My skin is stretched to its limits.
The Mimicker also has the ability to use other people's voices to try and lure you out. Now, when the Mimicker is near, it actually doesn't attack immediately. It first hides where you won't see it, until just at the right time it will get you by surprise. Now, if the Mimicker were real, you would not survive because it does have a brain. For example, it doesn't chase you loudly from far away. So by the time you hear him, it's already too late. Plus, you would hear a person crying or calling for help. So your first move would be to go closer and look. Then once he lures you out and spots you, outrunning him isn't possible, since while getting chased, the Mimicker is deadly fast. Eventually, you'll run out of breath and it's over. Also, it has the ability to make itself sound familiar. Imagine it using this ability with a family member you know. While you're in your room and you simply hear your mom saying to open the door, then you're met with this instead, game over. But you ask, at least it can die, right? Nah, he'd win. Remember, the Mimicker is a parasite-controlled body that keeps its host alive and aware even while it's being controlled. So being injured doesn't stop it from moving or acting, which means hurting it doesn't guarantee it will die. The only thing we know is that Steve will feel all the pain. Even if we hypothetically believe it does die, what's there to say the parasite will go into a new host and infect them? This mod was created by M Productions and is one of the most downloaded mods that is on this list, getting almost 9 million downloads, which is crazy work. So we can already tell this mod is gonna be good. Jumping in the mod, it's definitely a slow burn, and eventually you forget that the mod is even in the game. With the entity in this mod, he doesn't really do anything until you build a house. After building a house is when you'll start to feel paranoid. Like, I think someone's knocking at your door, bro. Nah, I'm just kidding, that was me. Okay, so with the noise you just heard is what you'll hear as time goes on. The entity tries to play with you. Hence the name, the Knocker. Now the Knocker is shy but wants you to know of his presence, constantly making certain noises that freak you out. Then eventually, when the time is right, he shows himself. As we can see, his body is fully blacked out, but his face glows white. And for some reason, he's always smiling as if he's plotting something. Or he has a weird fetish of stalking people and messing with them, where he just enjoys doing this creepy stuff. Once the Knocker shows himself, he'll sometimes go inside your house watching you from a distance. Then, while it's nighttime, he'll show up at your door and that's when you hear his knocking. Even in some scenarios, he'll message you in the chat. Okay, so from what we've seen so far, he's a bit weird, but it seems like he's harmless. He just likes to look at you at afar and gets off to stalking you. Except with stalkers and creeps like this, he'll get to the point where he eventually starts wanting to interact with you. Now, to survive the Knocker, what we know is that it's guaranteed to be in your house or any building that you're living in. From what we saw, he will knock then appear out of nowhere. When you first hear repeated knocking with no one there, it should be a warning sign that something is wrong. So the best course of action is you would stop staying alone and avoid sleeping in isolated places. You know, you should block your windows and lock your doors, buying several heavy-duty locks to make sure he doesn't get in. This is good since being watched gives the Knocker information about your habits, so it's easier for him to plan and attack. A smart choice is you would never open the door to anyone knocking, because possibly opening the door could be bad. So you're pretty much stuck at your house forever, but at least he would still be alive. Except that won't be the case. This plan kind of fails because we're talking like the Knocker is a human being. The thing is, the Knocker isn't. Staying in the house and making it protective sounds good, but staying inside is what the Knocker wants. When he's knocking, he's telling you he's there. Adding heavy locks sounds smart, but that also fails because the entity can appear without using the door at all. Now, not opening the door kind of turns your house into a trap, because you can't safely get supplies or leave. So even with all this prep, he eventually does still get you. And once he does, who knows what the Knocker will do. So far, we have seen mods that have entities that spawn in your world. But now we're switching it up a bit cause this mod is super different and honestly is impossible to survive. Created by Alexander25, he intended this mod to be a slow burn, because RNG is very involved with the events that occur, including the Wonderland world we'll be taking a look at soon. From hopping into the world, the mod does take its time to mess with you. Once you probably have decent stone tools or even full iron armor, the mod will start to take effect, but like the mod creator said, it's pretty random. One event occurs where someone types in the chat even though being in a single player world, sending messages like this. With this, the game is already telling you to stop playing, but if you don't listen and continue playing, this will happen. Now this dimension is one of many you can be teleported in the mod. Specifically this one has a bunch of brick blocks, and all these brick blocks are put into tall pillars and square frames everywhere, almost as if it's a giant cage symbolizing of trapping you. When exploring, you will eventually find a chest, and in the chest is a book, which gives some lore on someone who was stuck in this dimension for 4 months, becoming crazy and telling you to jump. After jumping, you get teleported to a flat world with abnormal trees. Then there's another dimension similar to the back rooms, just replaced with wooden blocks. It has areas as if this place is an apartment, making it seem like people have lived here. Then, when you find this floating eye entity, it will teleport you to this stone-like maze. Now this entity is one of many, but the ones we're gonna put more focus on is No One, Fate, Someone, Pillar, and the Entity. These ones is what we'll see more often. The first entity, No One, is a default Steve skin, just with his face replaced with a black square. Now this entity is pretty harmless, only just stalking you and watches from afar. But even though he won't attack you, if you get too close to him, you will get teleported to Wonderland, the same dimension with a flat plains biome and abnormal trees. Then there's Fate, a black glitched and stretched version of Steve missing his limbs. This entity is a bit more hostile, where he sprints and catches up to you pretty fast. Getting too close will trigger him to kill you or flashbang you. Next is Someone. Yeah, that's literally his name. With his appearance, he has a similar style as the first entity, now just having an eye. He is very hostile, and his main objective is just to game end you. What makes Someone different though is he can break and place blocks, making it quite difficult to escape from him. Here we get a change with the Pillar entity, which is the most harmless, basically just standing there and only gives you blindness. Which makes sense, he's literally an object. Finally, we get to the last one, which was in the maze, being the Entity. This one's only goal is to also game end you. This guy is only found in the maze and is the main entity that will make survival pretty much impossible. Surviving this mod in real life would be difficult because what you're dealing with isn't something you can plan on ahead. The events are random, so you cannot predict when the attack or teleport will happen. You can get no clipped out of reality just like the backrooms at the worst times. Then, with each new dimension being built like a cage or maze, you have a failed sense of direction. Then there's the notes, which you would think is helpful, but they give terrible instructions on what to do. Then there's the entities. Some of the entities we talked about look harmless, but getting close to them triggers another forced teleport, with some running faster than you. Plus, we've only covered 5 entities. In total, there are 32 entities that you'll have to survive in Wonderland. But here's the thing, even if the entities don't get you, dehydration or possibly starvation will, pretty much making it impossible to survive this place. This mod was created by MDE Studios and is actually banned from certain mod loaders, which we'll soon find out why. Now, the Grotesque Steve mod adds this messed up looking Steve into your world, cause when we look at his face, it puts this uncanny valley feeling in Minecraft, where he looks real but it feels so wrong. Loading into the world, everything looks normal at first. Nothing strange happens for a while, so you forget the mod is even there, which I'm kind of seeing a pattern here. But after some time, happy music starts playing with no clear way of knowing where it's coming from. Now this sound is actually Grotesque Steve's theme, so at this point, you'll know he's near you. If you keep playing like normal, he will show up at a bad moment while you're busy, and when you spot him, he does not move like a normal mob. When he runs, his arm reaches forward and his tongue sticks out. Because he's not trying to hit you, but instead tries to grab you, making him quite different from normal mobs like zombies or skeletons. Then once he catches you, this is what happens. Here you expect damage like a normal hit, but that's not what he's doing. So looking at this scene turns uncomfortable really quick. Yeah, this Steve is very down bad. You would think he's just another hostile mob. For example, with zombies they swing and back off. But Steve walks in and touches you instead, making it so you would not survive Grotesque Steve in real life, because the things you would normally do won't work. When you try to run when you hear the happy music, Grotesque Steve still has the edge on you, because you can't tell where he is, so he can attack you at any moment. So you would think being in open places would be good since nothing can sneak up on you. But even that won't work. Real life makes you go into rooms and hallways, so your surrounding gets relatively blocked, because you can't see behind and beside you at the same time. He can show up from a blind spot, so really running away isn't an option. But how about fighting him? For example, dodging his attacks like you would dodge a punch. But that won't work either because he runs at you with his arms open, already trying to grab you. You think you can fight or get him with guns, but even with that, he's immune. So yeah, you really can't survive this dude. Plus, out of all the ones so far, I would never actually want to see him in person. I'm not trying to get the Banjo-Kazooie treatment. The Tapes was created by Run Rabbit, with his mod getting only 14,000 downloads. With this mod, it makes it quite different from the mods we've gone so far. This mod makes itself really unique compared to the other mods we've covered so far, since it doesn't solely focus on scares, but instead the lore. Just by looking at the mod, it's similar to something like Five Nights at Freddy's and the Walton Files. So you might be able to expect what we're gonna have to deal with. When first hopping into the world, you're given a phone which gives us some lore, where there was a family diner with animatronics owned by a person named Henry. Now everything in this diner was going well, until Henry mysteriously fell into madness after an incident. So we play as one of Henry's family members and our goal is to find out what happened. Except it won't be so easy when there's certain animatronics coming after us. With this mod, it is a slow burn, so not much will happen until we explore more of this Minecraft world. After some time, we come across one of many structures, with this one being sort of a warehouse for inventory. Here we find a suit that looks like a dog, and if we go deeper, we even find a passed out person. Getting out of the warehouse into this next location, we find another passed out person that's just sleeping without breathing, which raises some questions of who or what has been doing this. Then finally, we see it. Next, we encounter another animatronic, but this one is a bit off. Just by looking at its eyes, if you can see clearly, it looks like there's a human inside.
I can't shoot you with a bow, okay. Maybe we can use resolve.
And they're just wearing the animatronic as a suit. But that's pretty much it for this mod. As of now, there are 2 hostile animatronics that we will need to try and survive. The rest of them are mainly just puppets and look creepy. One is called Big Bad. This animatronic is like a wolf or dog hybrid. He has these long limbs, where he uses them to catch up to you very quickly. Then we have Happy Hair, which is the one we encountered in the dark area, with that crappy foxy jump scare I showed you guys. My bad. Now this dude is a little more chill than Big Bad, but this rabbit is still a threat once we encounter him enough times. So this is the Tapes. We know what we're dealing with. Now if the Tapes were real, you just wouldn't survive. Let's say we are put into this world and have the same goal as Henry's family member, to find out what happened to Henry. If you remember, the mod starts with clues and is a slow burn. So with this, it gives a false sense of safety. You feel safe enough to explore the abandoned diner and warehouses where you find strange bodies and suits, making you feel safe since nothing is really happening. But those are all signs that something bad has already taken place. So if those passed out people are already gone, what makes us special? Plus, as you explore, you will get tired. A lot of the structures we see are incredibly far from each other, putting you at a disadvantage, not only physically, but also mentally. Anyone who sees this will have a fight or flight response. Think of going inside a dark building with barely any light and you just see some Minecraft person not breathing. Let's be real, yours would be flight. Then when you finally see either Big Bad or Happy Hair, it's over. Lastly, since these animatronics stalk, hide, and ambush you, instead of chasing you, every step you take towards understanding what happened to Henry leads you further down to being game ended. Because we don't have plot armor, and we're already at a disadvantage, making you one of the passed out people we saw in the structures before. Created by Wendigo Drip with his mod getting almost 800,000 downloads. When the Broken Script released, it changed what Minecraft horror mods could do. Most early Dweller mods only had one creature that tried to kill you, but the Broken Script tried to do more than just send a monster at you. So Wendigo Drip decided to make a mod that was more psychological horror, where as you play, it will get worse. This is shown by the many fourth wall breaking events in the mod, with the worst ones crashing your game, putting text files on your desktop you didn't write, and at one point shutting off your PC. When you enter the world, the mod starts very slow. For the first few days, nothing strange happens. So you just play Minecraft normally and work towards beating the Ender Dragon. But as more days pass, odd events begin. And Null joins your world, even though you're in single player. Null is only one of the threats you will face, until eventually you get kicked out and banned from the world. Honestly, getting kicked out of the server is a better outcome, because if you stay in the world long enough, a worse event can trigger. When this moon comes, more anomalies will happen. Plus, it increases the spawn rates for the entities you'll need to survive. For example, both Null and Revuxor. Like I hinted at earlier, Null joins your single player world, and it acts like a real player is inside your game. When you see him, the pause menu stops working, so you can't freeze the game or step away. He also causes some trouble by placing strange structures. But Revuxor is worse. It appears behind you without warning, and when it shows up, it bans you pretty much immediately. Then there's Circuit, which torments you psychologically. Circuit likes to hide in caves, and instead of revealing what it looks like, it first puts on a disguise to look like passive mobs. Then when you hit it, it will turn back to its original form, quickly killing you. Next, there are the corrupt entities who break the environment. This one is called No Texture. While he's walking, it places blocks with no textures. When first seeing it, it's good to run away as fast as possible. If he spots you and touches you, you will get teleported to a different dimension. Then there's Hetzer. It appears as a strange shaking ring thing. While it's active, it will freak out, then just leave. But when it leaves, it just switches to daytime, even though it was night just before. With this event, it actually puts you into an illusion, where it's always been night. So here's the thing, since the mod doesn't only add entities in the game, but also corrupts your world, if the Broken Script was in real life, not only would you not survive, but also everyone else, making the mod similar to an apocalypse. Let me explain. In short, it would play out like a chain of events. So think about it, the day starts normally. People go outside and continue their routines, until they start seeing different entities like Null and Revuxor, where they straight up game end a bunch of people with their abilities deleting them from existence. Then news spread that strange structures and several entities are appearing out of nowhere. One of them being Circuit, who disguises himself as normal animals and people, just for him to also game end you and a ton more people. Lastly would be the moon. Imagine it's night and the moon looks distorted and starts changing its white color and strangely enough being black with red eyes. Since the moon indicates an increased spawn of all the entities we talked about, it's gonna be hard to see them and they'll be in closer range. Because of that, it's pretty much over for the world. With no texture and Hetzer ruining buildings and land, people will start disappearing, getting teleported to different areas, making the broken script impossible to survive. There's just no logical, proven way to kill these entities. But yeah guys, that's it for this video. If you like this video, you'll love this one. I'll see you there. Peace.